All right, let's talk dream safaris. We're talking wide open savanna, wind in your hair, and suddenly, bam, a lion just casually strolls by. I mean, who hasn't pictured themselves on a safari in the Masai Mara? It's iconic. But, and this is a big but, it's not exactly known for being easy on the wallet. Luckily, you guys sent in this awesome guide, your ultimate guide to Masai Mara National Reserve entry fees. And we've got our resident expert here to break it all down.
And what a guide. Seriously, this thing's got everything. By the end of this deep dive, you'll be ready to plan your dream trip to the Mara without hopefully maxing out those credit cards.
Music to my ears. So you finally touched down in Kenya, bags are grabbed, you're ready for adventure.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you're going to need?
Sunscreen.
Well, yes, definitely pack that. But even before the sunscreen.
No, right. Money. You're going to need to pay to actually get into the Mara.
Yeah. Exactly. So let's talk entry fees. What's the damage for stepping foot into this incredible place?
All right. So first thing, this guide makes very clear huge difference between high season and low season pricing.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So give us the numbers. What am I looking at?
All right. So for all you non-residents out there, peak season, which is July to December, you're looking at $200 per day.
Okay.
But if you go during the low season, January to June, it's $100 per day.
So basically, high season is DOUBLE.
Yeah, it is. You got to remember, it's all about supply and demand. Peak season means great weather, prime wildlife viewing. Everyone wants in.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Now, one thing that often trips people up, and this guy does a good job of highlighting it, it's per day, not your whole trip. So if you're staying for 3 days, that's $600 total for peak season.
Per person.
Yeah, per person. Though I will say, good news for families traveling with really little ones. Kids under 3, they get in free.
Okay. Okay. Every little bit helps, right?
Yeah.
Now you're saying 3 days. I could see myself wanting to stay longer to really soak it all in. What would you recommend?
3 to 4 days is a great starting point, definitely. It gives you a good amount of time to explore different areas, try to catch those amazing animal sightings.
Okay, 3 or 4 days in the Masai Mara, soaking up the African sun, hopefully spotting the big five. Sign me up. But let's talk real talk for a second. $200, even with those savanna views, that's an investment. So break it down for me. What am I actually getting for my money here?
I love that you're asking that because this guide is really upfront about it's not just about getting you past the gates. Those fees are going towards, well, a whole lot, actually.
All right, I'm all ears. Give me the breakdown.
So first and foremost, obviously, you're paying for access to the reserve itself. But beyond that, a big chunk of that money goes directly to conservation efforts.
Okay, so like, what does that actually look like on the ground?
So we're talking things like anti-poaching patrols, which are crucial for protecting endangered species. Then there's wildlife monitoring, tracking populations, understanding their movements, all super important for conservation.
Right, so they can keep an eye on how everyone's doing out there.
Exactly. And then you've got habitat restoration projects. Maintaining a healthy ecosystem takes a lot of work.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And it doesn't stop there. Your fees also help maintain the park's infrastructure. We're talking roads, ranger stations, communication systems, all the stuff that keeps a massive reserve like this running smoothly.
Yeah, I bet those roads take a beating out there. Can't imagine it's easy to maintain those.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget the park rangers and staff, the real heroes of the Mara. They're out there day in, day out, protecting this ecosystem and making sure everyone has a safe and amazing experience.
All right, so it's not just about my safari experience. It's about supporting the whole ecosystem, which I love. But I do have one very important question.
Hit me.
With this price tag,
Yeah.
are we talking glamping here? Like luxury tents, those outdoor showers you see in magazines? Maybe a personal chef whipping up gourmet meals under the stars? Asking for a friend, of course.
Well, you're definitely in for an experience, that's for sure. But yeah, maybe hold off on packing that evening down. Haha.
Yeah.
The guide's pretty upfront about this. Accommodations, guide fees, even those fancy hot air balloon rides, all separate.
Okay, so more bring your own tent than five-star resort. Got it.
Precisely. And this is where planning and budgeting come in handy. Knowing what's covered by the entry fee, it lets you set aside money for those extras. Because trust me, they can add up fast.
You're preaching to the choir, my friend. That's why you're here. Now, speaking of saving those pennies, are there any magic words? Secret handshakes to get a discount on these entry fees? Again, asking for a friend.
No secret handshakes that I know of, sadly, but This guide does have some good news. Students with their IDs might catch a break. There are usually special rates for bigger groups or educational trips. And they even mention sometimes they do promotions, especially in those shoulder
Oh,
seasons.
right, those shoulder seasons. Good for the budget and maybe less crowded. Win-win.
Exactly. But here's the catch. These deals, they change. Always best to check directly with the Kenya Wildlife Service or your tour operator for the very latest. Don't want any surprises.
Solid advice. Okay, so you've booked your trip, you've managed to snag that sweet discount. How are you actually paying for all of this? Are we talking straight cash in the middle of the savannah?
Thankfully, no. You won't need to be trading coconuts to get into the Mara, haha. They've actually embraced technology there. You can pay with cash, both US dollars and Kenyan shillings, or if you're like me, glued to your credit card, they take Visa, MasterCard, all the usual suspects. And they've even got mobile money payment options for residents.
Wow, very cool. Okay, so we've covered the what, the how much, and even the how to pay. But now for the big question, the why.
Mhm.
What makes the Masai Mara worth this price tag? Especially with all the other incredible parks in Kenya, which this guide actually talks about, right?
Yeah.
Like we've got Amboseli with those iconic elephant herds against Kilimanjaro, Tsavo known for its red elephants, Lake Nakuru and its flamingos. So many choices.
And don't get me wrong, all incredible parks, truly, but the Masai Mara, it just hits different.
Okay, so what is it about the Mara? Why does it have that extra oomph?
It's that wow factor.
It's
It's the sheer volume of wildlife. Honestly, the density and diversity you find in the Masai Mara, you won't find that easily anywhere else.
So we're just talking numbers here.
Not at all. I mean, sure, you're going to see a lot of animals, but it's the quality of those sightings, too. Those pinch me moments. You're there face to face with a massive herd of elephants, or you stumble upon a pride of lions on the move. It's something else.
See, and now we got to talk about the Great Migration because you can't mention the Masai Mara without it. I mean, millions of wildebeest and zebra on the move. It's straight out of National Geographic. But for someone who's never seen it, paint us a picture. What makes it so special?
Picture this. You're standing on these vast plains, and it's like a sea of animals, stretching as far as you can see, wildebeest, zebra, all moving together, driven by this ancient instinct to find better grazing.
It's like their internal GPS is just going off.
Yeah. It's incredible, truly. This primal instinct just takes over. And witnessing it, it's a humbling experience. You're seeing raw, powerful nature right there in front of you.
Now, I'm guessing this impacts when you'd want to visit. If you want to catch the migration, that is.
Totally. This is where the guide comes in clutch. It lays it all out, explains that the migration follows the rain patterns, so it shifts a little each year. But generally, July to September, prime time, that's when you want to be there for those dramatic river crossings.
Okay, got it. So we've budgeted for those entry fees. We know when we want to go to catch the migration. I'm ready. Let's book that flight. But before I do, any last-minute gotchas? Are there other costs I should know about once I'm actually inside the park?
Oh, there are always a few extras. Don't worry. This guide's got us covered.
Hit me.
First up, vehicle entry fees. If you're bringing your own vehicle, it's about $40 for non-residents.
Okay, so no self-driving safaris.
Not really. Trust me on this one. You want a guide. They'll have a vehicle, and they know these roads. They know how to spot the animals. Plus, safety first out there in the wild. And speaking of guides,
Oh, right. Got to factor in that cost, too.
you do, but honestly, it's worth every penny. This guide emphasizes that a local guide can make or break your Mara experience. Think about it. They know the land, they can track animals like nobody's business, but more than that, they offer so much insight. You're not just looking at animals, you're learning about their behavior, you're understanding the whole ecosystem. It's a much richer experience.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
Guides it is. Okay, so we've got the guide fees, we've got the park entry fees, anything else. You've got the essentials. And hey, always good to remember, a big chunk of what you're paying, something like 65%, goes right back into protecting this incredible place. So really, those extra dollars are an investment.
Right. It's like feel-good spending. Instead of a new pair of shoes, I'm supporting conservation. Love that.
Much better investment.
100%. Well, I've got to say, after this deep dive, I feel like I could plan a Masai Mara trip in my sleep.
See? What'd I tell you?
This guide was amazing. Thank you so much for walking us through it all. Seriously, you're a rock star.
Anytime. Happy to geek out about the Mara anytime.
And for everyone listening, remember, you heard it here first. Planning your dream safari is totally doable. Think about those shoulder seasons for deals. Time it right for the Great Migration. And most importantly, do your research. This guide's got even more tips and tricks on their website, so definitely go check it out. And until next time, happy adventuring.